Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Naren Agarwal Show. Today's episode is going to be very interesting. If you're interested in marketing, if you're interested in communication, and you want to know who or what an evangelist is. I have with me a very dear friend of mine from college, all the way from Frankfort, Kentucky in the United States, Mr. Gill Finley. Now, Gill is an MBA in finance from Kentucky State University, which is a historically Black college and university in the United States, by the way, and we'll get more into that. He is also an adjunct professor in marketing at the same university he graduated from with his MBA. And on top of that, he's a motivational speaker. He helps people in leadership development, and he's an evangelist at his church. Welcoming my dear friend, Gill. Gill, how are you doing, brother?
Naren, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. You have the same young face as when I first met you, just a little facial hair this time.
Thank you, brother. It's so good to see you. And I've always remembered it's been so easy to talk to you. You're such a great communicator since I remember from college. And I was like, wow, I have to have a podcast with Gill and learn about all the cool things he's been up to, from marketing to communication to leadership. And also this cool thing that you're an evangelist at your church. So let's start off with asking you, what is it like being a professor, like an adjunct professor, teaching people about marketing? Like, did you ever imagine you'd be teaching MBA students marketing and teaching others market?
Absolutely not. I never saw myself as a teacher or a professor. It actually came as a suggestion or an idea and kind of floated around. And I never thought that I would do that, but my life has always been about communicating. So am I shocked or surprised? No, but it wasn't planned. But, you know, life is full of surprises, and, you know, you just take everything one day at a time and enjoy the experience. But it has definitely been a learning experience. One of the interesting aspects, I would say, is learning to teach people how to learn.
Wow.
That's one of the things that I've had to learn how to do. But I also have background in teaching. I substitute taught K through 12 from primary school through high school, from the time I graduated from Hanover all the way through grad school. And so I do have background in teaching, but now you transition to another type of level of education and expectations. And so, and also too, I've also had to learn the difference between expectations and students and different types of academic environments. So we come from an academic environment that is more rigorous and very challenging and have high levels of demand, and a private sector of schools. And I'm teaching at a public university, which is still, you know, of course, have academic challenges and different things, but, you know, there's a difference. So it's been a fun experience. It's been a learning experience. This is actually my first semester, so a lot of things I'm learning and catching on the fly, and it's been an overall good experience. I'm supposed to be teaching again next semester. So we're going to get a full year, and we're going to, you know, once the year ends, we'll figure out, you know, what we're going to do from there. But overall, it's been a good experience, though.
Wow. Brother, when I ask you about marketing, what comes to your mind when you think of marketing? Because you went through an MBA and now you're also teaching that. When the word marketing comes to your mind, how do you think of marketing?
When I think of marketing, I think a lot of times most people think textbook answer, where you're focusing on supply chain, you're focusing on a product, you're focusing on a person. I mean, a product. And for me, I take the perspective of marketing as you are buying the person more than you are buying the product or the service. So, for example, everything starts as an idea. So you can always trace every product, every service back to an idea that came from a person. So this product, this service has the influence, has the traits of the individual that initially came up with that idea. If we look at the owners of a popular franchise here in the United States, Chick-fil-A, one of the most successful businesses that are going against the norm of all businesses where they're closed on Sundays because of the owner's original idea of respecting their religious beliefs or their Christian faith, to be able to say that we're not going to serve on this specific day because we want people to spend time developing their faith and spending time with family. And from that, you would think that a business like that is a competitive environment where, dealing with McDonald's, Burger King, KFC, and all these other franchises. But because of their quality of service and because of their statutes that they stand on, it's allowed them to create a brand that most people, reverence to this day. And so when I look at examples like that, I look at marketing as you're buying the product of the person who initially. So when I'm looking at marketing, I'm looking at the details of how did this product come to be? How did this service come to be? And you can trace the development of the business. You can trace the development of how they advertise their products, how they advertise their service based on the leadership, based on their makeup and how they view and how they perceive things. And so I would say that my approach towards marketing and my perspective towards marketing is different from the textbook because I'm all about application. Even with my students, I'm all about application. How can we make the words on the page come alive?
Wow.
And so with marketing for me is, and I've done sales. I've also done sales. So whenever you're selling stuff, they're not buying the product, they're buying you. And so you can sell people sell all kind of things. We had, they have different telemarketers and different sales events on TV, and you can get people to buy into some cheap product based on your enthusiasm, how you present it, and you being able to believe in the product so much that you make others believe in what you're selling or presenting. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm.
Amazing point that you make, because I've maybe never put the words that you put in such a clear way. But this is so true. Like, even when you just give that example, I remember people in the United States, like, holding Chick-fil-A at a whole different standard. Like, McDonald's was like one notch, Burger King, McDonald's, all this was like one notch below. Chick-fil-A was like a little more premium, even though they're closed on Sunday. But when people were like, whoa, Chick-fil-A, man, that's a different level of quality and service, like, compared to other fast food chains. On top of that, it came to my mind that Steve Jobs, right? Like, everybody bought into Steve Jobs more than Apple in the beginning. And Apple is just like an idea of Steve Jobs. Like, you're buying into Steve Jobs' idea of giving everybody top quality products and technology to work on. And last example that comes to my mind is Elon Musk right now, because Tesla has the valuation of like more than any other car company in the world, even though they've not been so established for so many years. But it's like people have bought into Elon Musk's idea so much, they believe in him so much that that's marketing, right? And what a great way that you brought this insight into my mind. So thank you for sharing your insight on marketing.
Yeah.
What other companies or examples that you see around you that you like to discuss in your class or bring it out to students? Like Chick-fil-A, I think that was a superb example of how they went against the norm and established such a good marketing. Other such examples that come to your mind when you talk about bringing the paper textbook live on the paper, outside the paper?
I think there's several different types of different businesses that I think challenge the. I think when marketing, it's about how can you challenge the status quo? How can you challenge the normalcy? And I think, for example, let's go to service type of a field. So, for example, a company called Valvoline. So they are a service where they service cars, they do oil changes, simple fixes, and things like that. And the difference between Valvoline and a normal mechanic shop is one is the speed of service. So you can get an oil change within a matter of less than maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And versus going to pay for a full service and going to a mechanic, having to drop off your car, having to, have extra labor attached onto it, for example. you could pay. You wouldn't even. I didn't even pay. So for example, they had a promotion going on where it's 50% off of the service for an oil change, a complete oil change, which would be probably maybe if you went to a mechanic shop, depending on the type of car, could be maybe around $100, if so, on the cheaper end. So I ended up getting my uh, oil change for about $25, and so Valvoline is this type of company that they offer a fast service for a cheap price for the same level of expertise and all these different things that you would get from a normal mechanic. And so for me, I look at the company like that. Wow, they're challenging the status quo and they're having the ability to be efficient and effective to be able to present a service that everyone has to use, that you would need regardless of whatever you're going. You have a car of high level or low level. You will have to be able to get an oil change. You have to get service, and it's time efficient in America and just everywhere. Everything is about time. No one wants to wait. No one wants everything. We live in a microwave generation, everything instant. Instagram, Instapot, instant coffee, you know, everything is instant. So time is everything. So in a successful business is being able to, in marketing, is being able to present a product that says, or a service that says, hey, we value your time just as much as you do. And we want to present to you a service that allows us to be able to present a quality product or quality service at a premium price for a time that is not offered by any other service or time frame from any other company.
Wow, brother. Another funny example that comes to my mind. I don't know if you read this book in college at the business course that we did, Nuts, in the business college program. And it talked about South-West Airlines in the United States, where it came in and challenged all the status quo. So typical airlines used to take a lot of time to turn around their planes. So like, let's say they land from New York to, let's say, Louisville. And they used to take like maybe an hour, 2 hours to clean the plane, get everything out, everybody out, and the next flight. But what Southwest started doing was doing 10-minute turnarounds. So they said, our most important asset is the plane. And as much as it's in the air is the more money we make. The plane on the ground makes no money. So they literally started doing 10-minute turnarounds. A plane would land, and within 10 minutes, they would target to turn around the plane, get the plane ready to take off for another flight. And so they increased their efficiency so much. And Southwest Airlines, it was very unique. They didn't have any frills, so they only offered peanuts. And that's why the book on it is called Nuts. They just offer peanuts, like quick snacks on the plane, because putting food on the plane, serving everybody, taking it out would enhance the cost and the time. So they started cheap flights, quick turnarounds, and no food on the plane. And people love Southwest Airlines because they're reliable, they were fast, and low cost.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I use Southwest myself for that reason. It's cheaper, quicker, less layover times, and you get more bang for your buck as far as baggage fees and all that stuff. So, because with Southwest, you get 2 free checked bags and a carry-on and a personal item. So you can carry up to 4 bags for free compared to other airlines. So.
Yeah, man, it's almost like everybody can go on a honeymoon with Southwest easily with all the bags packed.
Right. Truly.
Since you're so much into communication and that's an area of expertise that you hold, and it's quite linked up with marketing, how does communication relate to marketing?
I think that is the essence of marketing. Communication is the bread and butter of marketing. It's the garlic naan of marketing. Yeah, it is the traditional masala butter chicken.
Hey man, you're dropping those Indian terms on me.
Yeah. So it's the foundation of marketing. You can't explain or exemplify a product without some type of form of communication, whether it be verbal or nonverbal. And so without communication, there is no marketing. And so I think that what I love about how evolution works within the realms of marketing is different levels and ways of communicating a brand.
Yeah.
You have an emotional aspect, you have a loyalty aspect, you have a competitive aspect, you have all these different aspects and angles that companies are going. Now in America, I think it's so cool how things have changed drastically. So with the evolution of social media,
Yeah.
where people on social media, on Twitter, especially, for example, these restaurants and companies are tweeting at people and talking like normal people.
Yeah.
And you have the rival businesses communicating and, you know, bantering with one another and chirping back and forth at one another and talking trash over social media. And, you know, you have, and then, and back in the day, you know, years ago, you would never, you know, you would never see companies, you know, verbally mentioning or specifically targeting their rival. They would make, you know, little subliminal shots at them. But now it's like, hey, we are better than this company. Bottom line. Or, you know, you have people that are, you know, or that are on social media that are able to engage with brands. And so now it gives people more connectivity. And I think that's all about, that's a part of the human experience is connectivity. And people are more loyal and more likely to participate or to be able to gather to a brand that they feel that they can be a part of. Why do you think people go to Apple events by the droves as kind of like a cult following? Because they have bought in, like you were saying earlier, to a brand they bought into with a loyalty because they feel that they are a part. Apple has done a good job of creating a community that allows people to be a part of something. People by design are always looking for a matter of numerous things, but a lot of times people are looking for placement. So when people are able to, in a company, create an atmosphere that allows people to have placement, that's when you see businesses flourish and are successful. And they're able to create these spaces that allow customers or consumers of the product or good to be able to communicate their desires and needs. And so now when people are able to communicate their desires and needs of a product or service, they feel like they're a part of it, and it causes them to be more loyal to the brand.
Wow. And I think that's a very interesting point that you make. Like back in the day, it was almost this like cold, like robotic way of marketing where people would be like, you know, companies would be like wearing like, you know, necktie suits and ties. If I
Yeah.
could imagine a person as a company and, you know, speaking like a robot, like on the stage, hello, how are you doing? I hope you're well. And I think now it's become like the like kind of like clothes that we're wearing, casual. Casual is the new formal in business,
Right.
right? Only when you're casual are you able to be effective in getting people. And I think people are getting across that they're no longer connected with communication that's very formal. They want a little bit of more touchy-feely, easy, informal communication and connect. And that's a very interesting point that you bring forward. What's an interesting piece of advice if somebody is in the marketing world, they want to better their marketing, if they're an entrepreneur, they're a professional, or they're personal, working on their personal brand, what's a point of advice you would give to them? In what kind of communication should they have, and any specific example that you can draw from so that they can enhance their reach in marketing and connect with the people they're wanting to serve?
I think the most powerful tool in marketing is the first thing is establishing confidence in yourself. Because the first thing that you have to do is you have to believe in yourself, believe in your skills and abilities, believe in your knowledge and understanding of whatever the product or service that you're offering or selling or marketing. And from that, everything else builds. Because if you don't have confidence in yourself, if you don't have identification of who you are, you'll struggle to try to find balance, and you'll go with every fad and every turn and everything that that goes every other
Mm.
way besides the way that you need to go. And so I would say that my best advice would be learn to know yourself and stay true to yourself and learn what's effective, what's not effective, what you like, what you don't like, and stay true to those things. And from that, you will be able to use that as a launching pad, as a catalyst to be able to get to the areas and navigate through things in different seasons and variations in your business walk, your personal life, your product life. I think that would be the most beneficial beyond textbook, beyond the different types of marketing strategies and all those things. I think that is the genesis that a lot of people overlook.
That's very interesting. Knowing who you are, and only then can you begin the journey of marketing. Otherwise, you'll be derailed. What an interesting point that you make. That's a great transition to the other things that you do, Gil, that I want to ask you about. So you're a motivational speaker and you also help people with leadership development. And so how does that role uh, come in, and how do you help people do that? Why is it important for people to have and seek such a person and such knowledge?
So I've had a very interesting and very vast experience level dealing with leadership. So I have done motivational speaking with kids all the way to adults. So from high school, middle school age, some elementary, all the way up to professional working environment. So I've done motivational speaking about gift discovery and financial literacy with elementary schools and high schools and colleges. And I've also done leadership development trainings with professional environments. For example, I did a leadership training for Ralph Lauren. And I got to go and do leadership training and also a financial literacy training. It was like a hybrid type of deal. And I got to go in there and train their employees and managers and workers to be able to, because Ralph Lauren was taking a perspective of taking care of their employees. And so I got invited and hired on to be able to come and present my services to them. And it came from the same type of thing that I was telling you earlier, just briefly ago, about learning how to discover yourself. I think a lot of times we do ourselves a disservice by not discovering who we are. And there's a lot of external things that shape us subconsciously that deter us from the essence of who we are. And so I think that the most beautiful thing that I've experienced is from all these different age groups and environments is being able to see the light bulb come on in people's minds to know that they're enough. I think that's what is one of the most beautiful moments for me, is to be able to create internal conversation within people's mind to know that why not them? Why not me? Why can't I be the next, whatever the case may be, not person, but why can't I be the solution to this type of problem? Or why can't I have, a certain type of lifestyle and different things like that? And I really believe a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, he has a clothing brand. It's called I'm My Only Competition, dealing with me versus me. And just being able to help people to understand that they are their only competition, that there's no one that is competing against you. You're your only competition. And the competition that you have is believing in yourself, overcoming that hurdle of that you're more than your circumstances and what you've been through, and all the opposition that comes with it. Everybody has a lot of stuff going on. I tell people this all the time. I have people in the room like, raise your hand if you have a lot going on. And everybody has a lot going on. But nevertheless, right, nevertheless, we're able to overcome. And so it's just about developing that confidence in who you are as an individual, your uniqueness, and being able to build off of that, because out of that organic place, you're able to branch out and be who you are and utilize your gifts and discover the vastness of your individuality and your gifts, skills, and talents.
Wow, that's superb, man. Um, reminds me of I'm paraphrasing, that the Michelangelo is you and the David that you're sculpting is you. When you said, like,
Right.
us versus us, the competition is us. And we are the artist, and the art piece that we are sculpting or working on is us. So we are our own competition. I love that perspective. And one more thing that I caught that you said, and that was amazing, is that you said you want to be the next, not a person. Sometimes we say, oh, you're going to be the next Elon Musk. You need your effort to something else. The next solution to something. And I think I love that you shared that.
Yeah.
Gil, it's always so refreshing to hear your perspectives. I want to talk to you now about being an evangelist. Tell me what being an evangelist at your church is. What is that like? And what role does that entail? That's very interesting.
So, in simplest form, I would say it's so funny how everything ties in. It just came to me. So it's funny how everything's all interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that an evangelist is like a marketer. My job is to present. So I'm a Christian. And so my job is to present the gospel of Jesus Christ to people all around the world in different various ways. And so it's funny. It's funny how everything kind of
Ties
flows.
together. Yeah.
And so yeah. So basically, I live my life as a walking billboard of the transformative love of Jesus, and I'm able to reach people and communicate uh, God's love for them. And so I travel and speak for that as well. So I travel across the country in different places and being able to share, encourage people, and uplift people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so the whole purpose of evangelism is to be able to reach people. And it's not just in a church setting; it is a lifestyle. It is a part of who I am as a person. Like my life is to be able to reach people, and it's not about a church building. It's about people having a relationship with God and being able to experience that love. And so,
Wow.
with evangelism, uh, what I get to do is I get to communicate. I get to talk to people. I've got to meet so many different stories. That's what I love about my role. And the cool thing about evangelism is that it's not limited to a person who's an evangelist. So uh, everyone who is a believer is called to evangelize. And that's our responsibility, which is sharing the gospel. And so, or the good news. When I say gospel, it translates to good news. So, um, I love being able to encounter people in different stories and different narratives. And so, the whole goal of evangelism, and I love to sum it up in this, is you're introducing the author to someone's story to them. So my job, my goal is to be able to reach people. And I'm not sure if you heard this phrase, but we call it about the body of Christ. And so I like to sum it up in this phrase is what we're doing with evangelism is we're reconnecting disjointed or disconnected members back to the body of Christ.
Wow.
And so I love to be able to talk to people who are homeless, people who are business people, people who are the typical normal person. Everyone has the ability to be able to experience the love of God, and I love to be able to just go around and encourage people and be able to invite them into this experience. And also I get to engage people within other beliefs and other faiths. And so I'm a very studied person. So I've studied a lot of different major religions, and I love to be able to talk to people and give perspective about Christianity with other people's belief systems and be able to clear up things or give perspective about things. And so it's a very
That's
cool
very
role.
interesting, man. I have a couple of questions for you. So first off, does being an evangelist, the role you have, does it call for a certain lifestyle that you maintain? And is there specific things that you do or daily practices or prayers or meditations that you follow or perform? Are there certain guidelines that you stick by as an evangelist?
Well, I think it's not necessarily the role of. I would say it's more of a servant leader
Mhm.
versus a um, some type of celebrity. You know, a lot
Correct.
of times in TV and movies, and unfortunately in the way that it's portrayed, that it's uh, a celebrity type of, you know, upper echelon or a hierarchy, when it's really a servant leader. So my job is to live my life to be able to serve people. And so, and especially being an evangelist, in my job, my life is about people and serving people and reaching people. And so with that, it's more so just about living a life that reflects the life of Jesus Christ. And so, living a life of love, living a life of peace. One of the cool things that I love is being able to um, watch the love of God cause people to be healed. I've seen miracles, signs, and wonders, and it's been an amazing, amazing thing. But it doesn't have anything to do with just being an evangelist. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I would say being an evangelist in that role is like, for example, if you have a military, there's levels of rank of responsibility and information to be able to disperse or to equip other people in the ranks. So it's not like we're all a part of a part of an organization or an army or a conglomerate, but there's different levels of responsibility. And so, regardless of my title of being evangelist, my life is just to be able to live a life that exemplifies the love of God. So
Wow.
yes, I pray, yes, I read the Bible, but it's not more so of a practice versus a lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Exactly. That's lovely. Follow-up question is, as you see, and you've probably like grown up in this tradition as a child, as you grow up and as you see people, do you see people in the modern world and also the modern America like more losing faith, getting out of faith, and like, you know, living a life where they have lost that sense of meaning that used to be there back in the day? And what's your perspective on seeing how things are happening in modern America as somebody who's very rooted in faith?
So I would think that my perspective is that people are removed and detached and don't want anything to do with religion and tradition. They want something that is more tangible and more fulfilling than trying to uphold a set rule set or a practice. And they want something that is tangible, something that really can interact and be able to change and transform their situations. And so for me,
Instant.
right, and so for me, uh, I in my own personal life, I wasn't always. Well, there was a point in time in my life that I wasn't sure if I was a Christian or, you know, what I believed. And so, which led me on my study of all different major religions. And I kept coming back to, you know, my faith in Jesus Christ. And so I would say in modern day America, people are more hungry for Jesus than ever before, because in everything is either coming against or challenging, and but you don't see them challenging any other major religions. You see this one specific belief system that is. So for me, using deductive reasoning, okay, there must be something that challenges something inside of people that draws them to say, hey, well, if this is this, then why is this? And people are looking for answers, and I believe that I get the cool opportunity to, in a life full of people's subscription to issues, you know, Times, you know, the magazine, you get to give an answer to life's issues.
That's amazing, man. I would like to end on this beautiful note that I think faith is very powerful, and that it's great that you're rooted in faith. Um, it's interesting also, by the way, that there's something called the lost years of Jesus Christ. I don't know if you heard, like, where there's like
Yeah, I've heard.
missing years. And there's a theory that Jesus Christ actually came to India of back in the day. There's a theory,
Mm-hmm.
of course. I don't know if there's proof to it. And there's a small tradition and people in the city of Kashi, which is a very spiritual city in India, ancient, that he was there and he practiced a lot of the meditation techniques and stuff. and learned some sciences, Indian sciences of meditation and prayer also. And so it's not just the Christians, but even the Hindus here who certain sects follow Jesus Christ. And you'll be surprised to see that Yogananda Society, there's a big international organization by Paramahansa Yogananda. He's a famous yogi from India. And even they put a photo of Jesus Christ up there on their altar with like other gurus. Very interesting.
And I've actually studied the role of Jesus Christ as a guru, and so it's different perspective. And but like I said, I've learned, and I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn, and I love to be able to see different aspects and perspectives of things. So it's really cool to see and learn.
Amazing. What a great podcast with you, Gill. We learned about business. We learned about communication. We learned about also faith and religion from your perspective. It's been a pleasure talking to you, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show. And folks, if you're interested and you enjoyed this conversation, you can follow Gill on multiple platforms and follow his podcast, the Clear Perspective Podcast. Gill, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome again. I hope you really enjoyed this podcast. If you did, share it with one person that you can help. Jisko isse madad mile. And if you like this podcast, you want such more insightful information and knowledge, check out the other podcasts right here. I will see you very soon in another episode.